Hi, welcome to the small shed. This morning we're off on the road on a scavenge hunt. See you in a minute. I'm just off up into Birmingham for Menin Sheds to go and collect some materials which kind of highlight quite what's wrong with us as a society. We were reached out to by a firm up in Birmingham, a small engineering company, a few weeks ago now, and they said, would you like some plywood? We didn't know quite what quantity or what quality. It was packing case material apparently, and we said yes on the grounds that you can always take it to the tip if it's really rubbish, and we'll usually find a use for things. And I collected one lot about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and that has pretty much all been used. So I'm going up for another load today. It is about 7mm thick plywood, and it's lids off packing crates. There are sides and ends available, but they've got more fixings in them. So we're sticking with the lids at the moment because they're pretty unmolested, and it's very, very nice material. And when I say that's what highlights what's wrong with us as a society, bear in mind this is just one small engineering company in hundreds, thousands maybe in the country. They are taking to landfill 3 pallet loads of this material every week. I collected 1 pallet load, let's say a few weeks back, and I'm getting another one today. That comprises 60 sheets, about 4 by 2, something like that sized material. And it's just criminal that that sort of waste is happening all the while. You multiply that 3 pallet loads a week by the number of small companies that are getting that sort of material in. It's not just boxes and crates, it's pallets and all sorts of things that are just getting skipped and going to landfill. So hopefully we can use the material wisely and get some benefit to both Menin Sheds and all sorts of other groups as well from it, and I'll go into that in a bit as to what we're going to do with it. It's usually difficult to deal with thin plywood. There aren't a huge amount of things you can do with it. We did have a guy drop in a couple of years ago who had 6mm ply that they were using to line new vans with, and he also was producing, he said you can have a lorry load a week. Now we lost that contact, but again it's just massive waste that people are having to pay to skip for perfectly good materials. We can't usually do a lot with ply that thin. This is better in that it's, as I say, about 7 or 8mm, so it's starting to become quite useful. But the problem is, obviously, with things like bird boxes and planters, which are the staple of Menin Sheds, you can't really use that for external work because the ply is just delaminated. It is cheap ply, although it's very nice. It won't really withstand the rigours of being outside. But of course, as with all these things, you adapt to what you've got by way of circumstances. Our staple diet in the past has been pallets and free donated timber that's left over, but the problem with that is that you've never got a secure source that's stable, that you know, and can therefore make something in any sort of quantity. So you're reduced to making one-off random birdhouses, things like that. But with this, what we can do is start to produce things that we can sell at craft fairs, That was the original intention. Things like barbecue, tote things, small boxes. Somebody's looking at making a sort of a tea caddy type arrangement. Things like that we could sell. And the beauty of it is that you can pre-cut these things and they don't take up a huge amount of room if you don't assemble them. But in the meantime, what's come along is, I think it's Rotary Club and one or two other organisations that we've been doing bits and pieces for and with, have come up with the idea that it would be useful to them to have very simple kits of parts for people, dementia type care, to be able to assemble and make something. And so my idea is of mass production of these things, and it becomes quite easy when you've got 50 or 60 sheets of ply coming in to be able to set it aside, a lump of it, cut it all to size, sand, polish, whatever you do with it, and have all the parts available once you've sort of designed the basic kit of parts that you need. So over the next few weeks I'm going to be making a start on designing kits for, starting off with a little barbecue general purpose sort of caddy tote thing for all sorts of things, shoe shine stuff, anything like that, knickknacks around the house, the sort of thing you shove under the sink, little box you can take out with you in the garden with stuff in it, that sort of thing. Possibly a tray, possibly I might look at some idea of birdhouse type work. I'm not quite sure whether, if we treated the material, whether it would be okay, particularly if we put some sort of a waterproof roof on top. But things like that, so that we can produce these little kits and then they can go off into the care homes and be used. So the material is getting used in all sorts of different ways, and in addition to that, people like myself are also using it for other projects that are keeping the many sheds sort of ethos going. People have got things they can make and take home at the end of it, and that sort of thing. So we're just heading up the M5. It's only about half an hour up to Birmingham, dropping down through Soho, which is where we're heading, and see what we can get. another load on its way. It's pluses and minuses. The minuses are that the last load they'd selected nothing but the tops of the crates, so they were all very consistent, no nails, and very, very nice quality. This is less quality in that they've got the side panels which have got a lot of clips and things on, but that's no great problem, we can take those out. The plus side is there's more. I've got a load on the roof as well as in the car, and we've got some thicker ply, I think, in amongst what we've got there, so hopefully it'll all go together to make up a decent sort of selection that we've got. And there is some of the tops in amongst this as well, so we'll just get this lot back to the shed and unload it, and then we can start and process it. Right, so there we are, safely unloaded. There's about 25 sheets of, what, 4x3, something like that, ends of the crates, about 25 or 30 of the sides, a few random odd bastard size ones there, and there are about another 15 or 20 of these quite nice tops which are pretty much unmolested. Once again, all I can say is how obscene it seems to me that companies in mass are throwing away quantities of stuff like that. I mean, this is, from what we were told earlier on the other first load, 3 times this per week is going to landfill from one smallish engineering company. So there we are. I'm no great eco warrior. I've got a carbon footprint the size of Wales myself, so I can't throw stones at anybody, but it does seem pretty obscene to me. As I've said, this one got to me more than most, the amount of waste. It's not the fact that there's only, 3 skip loads a week or 3 pallet loads a week. It's just multiplying that by the hundreds and thousands of businesses doing the same, and effectively we're all paying for it one way or another anyway. So hopefully we're going to do our little bit to try and mitigate some of that damage. It will be only a little bit. It's like trying to empty the sea with a teaspoon, but if we all keep doing our bit, we all hopefully get somewhere. Hope it was of interest. Look forward to seeing you next week. We'll be building something with all these bits of wood in the next week or two, I hope anyway, and I look forward to seeing you then. Bye.